Minnesota Senate race. No, it is not over yet. Today, a three-judge panel begins taking a look at the recount, which left Democrat Al Franken ahead of Republican Norm Coleman by 225 votes out of nearly 3 million cast. The judge's decision could be months away. It finally will determine the winner whenever it comes in. We have reaction now from both sides, starting with the Coleman campaign. On the phone from St. Paul, Minnesota, Coleman attorney Ben Ginsberg. Ben, we have seen the painstaking video of the canvassing board going over these ballots, basically vote by vote. How do you convince these judges that all resulted in a mistake?
Well, not quite vote by vote, John. The canvassing board itself in the Minnesota Supreme Court said that the canvassing board only had limited authority to go over votes. So many of, for example, the 12,000 rejected absentee votes were never before the canvassing board. On top of that, the canvassing board did allow in 933 absentee ballots. In doing that, there are ballots that look exactly the same amongst the rejected absentee ballots that have not been allowed in. And so it is the contest stage under Minnesota law where you get to enfranchise all the people who should have their votes counted.
So you're saying that they sort of changed the rules to favor the Democratic side?
No, the canvassing board just under Minnesota law has a very limited function. And so they didn't look at all the votes and didn't enfranchise all the people whose votes should be counted under standards that were set by the canvassing board in allowing some votes in. On top of that, if you look at this pile of 12,000 votes, some counties let in ballots, other counties didn't, yet the ballots look the same. We asked Al Franken to join with us in being sure that all Minnesota votes counted, and we are very, very surprised that he opted not to do that. I guess because he's in a calculated litigation strategy or something, but Minnesota has a long, proud tradition of having every vote count. And shockingly, Al Franken's not joining in that.
Well, if he's ahead, I mean, can you blame him?
Well, I mean, there are sort of crass calculations that could be made at any stage. But we're asking all 12,000 votes to be examined, and a big chunk of those will come in. They're not all going to be Norm Coleman votes. There are going to be Al Franken votes in there. But in order for people to have faith in the final results of this election, you have to count all the votes, and we hope Al Franken will eventually join us in that.
I don't know if you can give me an honest answer here, but most observers are saying that, with the canvassing board having, certified that he comes out, that Franken comes out 225 votes ahead, you've got a tall order to try to convince these three judges that Coleman, may stand a chance of being the winner here.
Oh, I think people who say that don't really understand what the process is. So I said the canvassing board has a very limited jurisdiction, and they just looked at the ballots that were in front of them, which was not all the ballots. Under Minnesota law, the contest phase is the first time a unified one group of judges will take a look at all the votes to be sure that all similar ballots are counted the same, which, after all, John, is the touchstone of any fair election.
That's for sure. All right. Thanks very much, Ben Ginsberg, representing the Coleman campaign.